Hey everybody, Scott from Advanced Course Academy Online, and welcome, coming to you from my clinic, my office. I was asked a question about weight loss hypnotherapy and what's the best way to market your weight loss hypnotherapy. And I just found it such a weird question because what I find with student hypnotherapists or even a lot of experienced hypnotherapists is that they're still not putting themselves out there at all. And the reason they're not putting themselves out there or they're not doing any marketing because they don't actually have the confidence in what they're actually doing in order to bring the people in. So they're not making the offer because they don't believe in what they do. And so the easiest way to have confidence in what you do is to basically go back and work on the hypnotherapy stuff. That's why I want to talk to you in this video, how do you actually do the weight loss hypnotherapy? And I've got a seminar coming up. And so from the last time that we did it, I've got a recording that I want to show you just to give you some of the framework, just so that you can actually just get started today just from this video, just to basically feel more confident in your delivery of weight loss hypnotherapy. And so as you can see, I've got this box and we call it the 36 box plan because it's a 6x6 plan. So there's 6 sessions of hypnotherapy and then there's 6 parts to each session. So when we sell our weight loss hypnotherapy, what we do is that we advertise the 6 sessions of hypnotherapy and the 2-disc CD sets. And we've been doing it there's the $150 per session. And so a lot of people will pay up front. So it's a $900 program. You can even do what I used to do, $120 discount off to get 780 in one go. And it's amazing, like with that recent YouTube video that I did where I got 7 clients off just this one video. And I think I hadn't put any more than $20 of traffic on it. So that's kind of like, 40 odd sessions from $20 because I had the confidence in what I was saying is that I know that I can help people with weight loss. And so this is the framework that I want you to look at. So looking at this box, before we even break it down into the 36 squares, the first thing that I want you to take a look at is let's just divide it straight in half. So as you can see, there's the first half of the session and the second half of the session. The first half of the session is counseling, where you've got to get to know them, you've got to give them the education, you've got to talk to them about what are their current eating habits. It's good to know what are their current emotional habits. That hypnotherapy is not just like the stage hypnosis where you just sort of come in and treat them without getting to know what's going on for them. You don't know yet until you've met them, until you've talked to them. What is their education in food? What are their habits? Are they stressed? Are they depressed? Are they anxious? What's going on for them? So that's why the first half of the session really makes the second half of the session possible. And in the second half, we've got the actual hypnosis and hypnotherapy where people expect in your program for you to not only be able to package it up, but the second half of the program, they expect for you to actually deliver a treatment. It's pretty normal for any type of treatment that you get, that you have the consultation and then the treatment. And so that the unconscious hypnotherapy part is the treatment, and the first half of the session was getting to know them and then teaching them what they need to know to move forward. Does that make sense so far? Next, what we do is we break the program up into 6 different parts. And as you know, I love acronyms. We've got this acronym called System and another acronym called Health. So the System acronym has 6 letters, which we'll get into soon. But for right now, just looking at the Health acronym, just looking at the Health one, and just taking a look at what are the letters in Health and what do they stand for. The reason we've put it together this way, and we've got this script, word for word, session for session script that you get when you come along on the 9th of August. There's a link down the bottom to come along to the seminar on the 9th of August. It's all there and it all fits into this acronym to show you how when you package up your program and you want to go see weight loss hypnotherapy clients, you need to have a package. People need to know in advance, how does this whole weight loss thing work? And if you don't have a framework, they don't believe you or they don't know, and you may not even feel, without a framework, confident in what you're doing. The easiest way to feel really confident in what you're doing is to get really confident by having a framework. So the letter H stands for habits. There's a quick video right now. I want you to take a look at the 4 habits or the 4 rules of weight loss that we look at in session 1. Take a look at this video now and get a pen out. This is the calendar where we get your clients in advance before session 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In advance, we get them to know what to expect. So check this video out. Like the whole idea of dieting, that people try a diet and then they stop a diet, is because they've tried it for a little while and the body's not silly. Like the body knows what you're doing. If you've done a yo-yo diet where you've gone on this diet for a bit, then you come back up, then you've gone on this diet again for a little while, and then you've stopped the diet, the body knows. Does that make sense? Where if you keep doing that and you go, well, I tried that diet, it didn't work, I tried that diet, it didn't work, I tried that one. The whole idea of diet for most people tends to be,
temporary. Even like the word diet can be wrong in a way. What you want is a lifestyle. If that diet is a part of your lifestyle, it can be okay, but if the diet's going to be something you're going to do for a week and a half, then it's not really associated with your lifestyle. It's not something you're going to maintain. So the first rule I like to give is to have the big breakfast, medium lunch, and small dinner. So breakfast turns into energy. Basically, as a metaphor, I like to say that dinner turns to fat. Now, it's a bit more complex. The reason I've said it's a metaphor is I like to say something simple that you can kind of repeat to someone and they'll get instantly. Because then you could expand on that topic and say, well, why could dinner turn to fat? What I like to talk about in the first rule is to give almost the entire breakdown of the body. So the Pavlov's dog, keeping food away from the TV. TVs are for watching, the breakfast, lunch and dinner tables are for eating at. Does it make sense how we start to build these habits once we've got kind of that as a rule? Cars are for driving, breakfast, lunch and dinner tables are for eating at, the beds are for sleeping at. Could you imagine if every time you went to bed you brought a bowl of chips with you, that would become part of your routine? Has anyone found that they've got a routine for other things, like when you drive, there's always something you do? So these habits start to be, what happens is that it goes into you've got these memory engrams that become part of your subconscious, where every time you repeat the same activity, you don't question them again, you just do them again. Like the same, you learned how to walk, you had to sort of question that a bit and go, well, that didn't work, let me try this way. Okay, that seems to work if I keep my balance that way. But then you don't think again about how you're going to walk. You just keep repeating the same patterns. So it's important to get into these habits. This is one of the major rules that I give a client. So rule 3, the power language. Behaviours are controlled by your subconscious, and your subconscious is controlled by your sensory language. And this is the picture I like to use to show, look at all the different amounts of sugar that each type of food has. Exactly. It is quite alarming. So it's good to show that to clients. Because, I mean, have you ever seen someone, they sit at their computer, they'll eat like a mouse, but they'll drink giant bottles of soft drink, bottle after bottle, and they go, I don't know why I'm so fat, and they're just drinking all these drinks. You've got to consider that every time you have a liquid that's not water, you've got to consider, well, what is in this liquid that's not water? Even if it's juice, like you may not need all of that juice. You know, like a bottle of 2 litres of orange juice can have 22 oranges. 22 oranges in a bottle of 2 litres. Have you ever sat down eaten 22 oranges? Would you want to squeeze 22 oranges and drink them? So if you drink 2 litres of orange juice, is that the right amount of oranges for you? So that's the important stuff I like to point out, is that even juice, they go, juice is healthier than soft drink. Well, yeah, it is. Do you need that much? Generally not. Drinking water is good. A lot of people have different amounts. I like to say 3 litres a day. A lot of this can be depending, are you a high performer? Are you a brickie, or are you someone who sits at a computer all day? Do you work in a hot environment or a cold environment? 3 is a bit of an average. Some people have said 7, some people have said none. But I do like to encourage people to drink water before the meals to help fill them up, and to have at least 3 litres of water a day. If you can't get through 3, or if they won't agree to 3, find a number they will agree to. Even 1 litre a day is so much better than no water, or better than, like, if they're going to have soft drinks all day, they think that's like drinking. That's basically just sugar. So it's really, I mean, water is like the number one reason. I mean, dehydration is the number one reason for headaches, fatigue, and it helps to clean the body. I mean, water is something that we do want to ask our clients to drink.
If you've got that, basically those 4 rules, so it's to do with when they eat and how much, it's to do with the language that they use, it's to do with the anchoring and where they eat, and it's also to do with the liquids which they need to consume before meals, and to count all all non-water liquids as a meal, because if it's a milkshake, if it's juice, which is basically, if it's not fresh juice, it's unhealthy anyway, and even if it is fresh juice, still far too much fructose. That's why water is the best drink. If it's Coke, if it's coffee, it's still kind of either it's coffee, which is milk and basically burns cherry beans, which I still love coffee, but you've got to consider that whatever goes into the body, if it's not water, you've got to count that coffee isn't free, it still counts as lactose, so that's still a sugar. It still counts as the lipids and fats in the coffee as well. Great, so moving on to session 2. And so I'll make this video quick for you so that you can just use this as a framework. I'm not going to teach you too much. And so session 2 is evaluate. And so every time you see someone for a second session for anything, unlike the first where you're teaching them a framework, session 2 is all about evaluation. It's all about finding their gaps. How did they go? Did they succeed really well? Or are there some areas where they're having trouble? So again, in the script, Check it out. It has all of the questions that they're going to need to know. And if you remember the FAIL acronym, which was to do with the law of familiarity, as in they already know everything already, or the aimless, they don't have a framework, or a note, they're doing nothing, or leave, where they just give up. They're the 4 ways that people are going to fail. I also call those 4 things the yeah butter, which is they're all arguing with you all the time. Another one is the dreamer, where they don't really have a correct understanding of what hypnosis is. They think you're going to click your fingers and then magic happens, which is not how it works. It's brain training, change the brain to change the body, and that's how this works. Another one is what I like to call the mute, where they do nothing. They just kind of sit there and they expect kind of, let's imagine that you've got, as a doctor, or just as a doctor, that somebody's broken their leg and you patch them up and put a cast on it. They don't really have to get involved in the treatment. They can just sort of sit there and have you treat them. But when it comes to anything like coaching, NLP, hypnotherapy, any of this mind stuff, you need them to be present with you. And so that's where the mute needs to kind of wake up and participate with you. And this is part of the evaluation. And the 4th one is the quitter, the person who, it's like leave, the person who just kind of gives up because they've forgotten how important health is and how much energy they can get for themselves and how happy they could be if their brain wasn't depressed all the time because they're just sick. Because when their body's sick, their brain is sick as well. So that was first session 1, the 4 habits or the 4 rules. E for evaluate, work out how are they going, and so that you can course correct. And we talk about the 4 steps of Super Nanny, where she gives the rules and then she allows them to break the rules, and then she either punishes or rewards, and then she rebonds with the client at the end. So we actually change her 4 rules to suit clients that are adults. Instead of having a naughty stool like Super Nanny does, we still use the same formula because it's still based on the same psychology. But what we do is that we explain the framework to people. If they're not following the rules, then we have to course correct, where we need to either fill in a knowledge gap that they have, be more tough, give them higher standards, more clear and sort of fill that gap in for them, or be more kind, sometimes show them more sensitivity. And then finally, you want them to basically to rebond, so re-celebrate at the end, to say that you've done so well because you were doing well, you fell off track, and now we're course corrected, and you're doing well again. If you don't re-celebrate with people once they've been course corrected, again, the thing starts to fall apart. So that's why you need to know these frameworks, and they're easy. They're really easy, but you just need to know them. And so that's why we teach it. And so that's why with this video, I want to help you right now so that you can see weight loss clients straight away. Session 3 is about activities, and that's what the A stands for. And the A, activities, is also to do with their nutrition. So it's exercise and food. And so if you can take a look at this map that we have, this is the food pyramid, but next to it, can you see how there's carbohydrates, there's proteins, and there's fats or lipids? So the basics. Basically, we've got the body, we've got all the food groups. There's the 11 systems of the body. Then we'll be covering like the proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, and then a balanced diet. So just quickly, the 11 systems. There's an acronym that we've got called Motors Link. So if you look at the names of all of the systems of the body, to make it easier to remember, so as a therapist, if you want to be able to memorize this, but we find it's a lot easier to remember what they are. The muscular system, the urinary system, the respiratory system, the digestive system, the endocrine system, there's the ovaries and the testicles, which they're part of the endocrine system as well, in a way, but they're also their own system. The skeletal system, there's the lymphatic system, then the integumentary, and then your nervous system. And this one, the last one, the circulatory system. Now, this is the way I like to look at the food pyramid. This is a rough guide as to how much of each type of molecule they want. Fats, 2%, 17% of simple carbohydrates, proteins about 20%, and complex carbohydrates, 61%. What's the difference between a simple carbohydrate and a complex carbohydrate? Yep, more slowly. And so what's the danger of too many simple carbohydrates? Yep.
Spikes in energy.
Yeah, so it gives you spikes in energy. That's a big fear a client can have, is that, like, what if I get tired? Like, what's going to happen? Once the liver has absorbed its full capacity of glucose, it starts to hold on to it. It starts to actually keep it. So this is what it takes, and this is what it turns it into. So there's enzymes in your body that turns protein into amino acids, carbohydrates into glucose, and fats into fatty acids. Protein can look like this to us, and it looks like those funny springs. Just briefly, just to say, like, what happens to the protein? Basically, the protease turns the protein into amino acids. So the protease is the enzyme. Then the amino acids get eaten by the cell. There's carbohydrates, which is that starting in the saliva, and in the pancreas. They both release the amylase enzyme into the small intestine, which turns carbohydrates into glucose. Then there's the simple and the complex carbohydrates. The difference is basically their complexity. The difference is how long it takes to unravel them in the body. And because the simple ones are so quick to unravel, it's going to create that energy spike where you're going to be awake and then you're going to be dropped. And then the next thing is you're going to overload the body. You're going to overload the liver until it's exceeded. The bile in the gallbladder is not going to be able to do enough. The pancreas isn't going to be able to do enough. It's not going to be able to release enough insulin. So that's where the environment comes into it. Fats. Basically, the lipase turns the fat to fatty acids. And so what we're left with is the fatty acids, the glucose, and the amino acids. That's what the cells eat. Now, some people have said that you just shouldn't eat any fat at all. What can happen if you don't eat fat? Well, the vitamin B and C is what we call water-soluble. The A, D, E, and K is a fat-soluble vitamin. So people have, this hasn't been completely proven, but some people have had cancer. They developed the cancer after cutting fat out of their diet, and then they put the fat back into their diet, and they started reabsorbing A, D, E, and K again, and the cancer went away.
So we talk about the cellular diet, which basically means that your body doesn't care, like with sugar, if you ate it or if you drank it. And so we don't just look at your food, we look at the total intake that the person's having. And we're not micro-measuring them, we're macro-measuring. So the idea is that we're not putting them on a scale every 5 minutes to see if they've gone up or down half a kilo. We're educating them on roughly kind of what is your body, and you saw the 11 systems, and then what is your food. And so we talk to them about simple diets that they can follow, which are healthy diets. Even simple things that you could tell your clients straight away. Shop in a C shape in the shopping centre. Avoid those oil aisles or those sugar aisles. You've basically got like 3 or 4 sugar aisles where you've got the liquid sugars and soft drinks and juices, which are really just sugar. No nutrients involved in them at all, even if they say no added sugar. And then you've got other solid sugar aisles, which are really just processed foods that also contain trans fats that you're not supposed to have. So the C shape is where you shop around the produce area more than any other part of the store. So if you're a vegetarian, you won't be eating the meat, but if you are, that's part of the C shape. And so the middle of the store is more so for impulse buys. And so then the next letter, so we've gone health, which is the H for habits, E for evaluate, A for activities, which is also at the exercise and nutrition. Then we've got L, which is the language, the NLP, the words that they use, which is the picture, sounds, and feeling words. What they say in their head, what we call their self-talk, or their images they have in their head, which is their pictures, or their feelings, which can be physically linked to the body and how they feel. What they repeat in the head is going to change their results. So if they keep telling you, okay, I'll try, or if they're acting in a negative way, those words are going to have an impact on how they feel. So there's the conscious mind and the subconscious, which is so much bigger. I should really call it positive sensory language, because your conscious mind understands logic, your subconscious mind understands pictures, sounds, and feelings. And so all these habits you've got, like how do you talk? Or how do you walk? Or how do you... when you talk, do you start with an in or an out breath? Or what do you do with the lips or the tongue? Do you start with a verb or a noun? Or, I don't really know how I talk, I just mean to talk, just stuff comes out. I think about what I mean to say and it just seems to come out. Because these habits in the subconscious, they know exactly what they're doing. Can everyone see that? So if I've got the eat at breakfast, eat at lunch, eat at dinner, and then there's TV. So what's happening is that you might say, should I eat or not eat? Or if I said, can you think of the number 3, would everybody be thinking of the number 3? Just because I said it. So so that could go into maybe it's either a picture or it's a sound or whatever. But then if I say, can you please not think of 3? Try really hard to not think of 3. Is everyone still thinking of 3? So would you say that still goes in to the subconscious? So with eat or not eat, logically you know what not means, but the subconscious has no clue what not means. It doesn't know what a negation is. Can you give me a handful of don't? Like somebody puts some don't in my hand, please. But there's no such substance. You can't have a picture or a sound or a feeling of don't
So with eat or don't eat, it gets rid of not. It grabs that, eat, just eat. And that becomes the habit. So when I see a TV, if I say, should I eat in front of the TV or should I not eat in front of the TV? What are you seeing? Yeah. Who here thought of a pink elephant? Or like who here thought of eating in front of the TV? So literally when I say power language, it really means sensory, picture, sound and feeling language instead of logic, because the subconscious doesn't understand logic. If ever you've had a battle with yourself, just go, I really should have like the willpower to not eat, but I'm just not feeling it. Does that sort of prove that there's sort of two minds going on? There's what you logically want, and there's how you behave. How you behave is always a reflection of not what you want to have happen, but of what you describe happening. So who here likes chocolate? Okay, so everybody, please don't imagine getting up in the middle of the night and getting chocolate from the fridge. And also don't think about the familiar footsteps, or maybe what's the distance to the fridge. And don't imagine that as you get to the fridge, the cool metal handle, as you open the fridge, and it finally lets go, and that cool puff of air. I don't want anyone to think about the eyes readjusting to the light of the fridge, or that purple Cadbury's block, or the tearing of the cardboard and the smell of it maybe, or the gliding of the alfoil and the snapping of the chocolate, that sound it makes. Don't think about this at all. And then maybe the uneven break or the crumbs that seem to come, or as maybe you take it into the kitchen, maybe there's some footsteps. And then don't think about the chocolate, don't smell it, don't kind of feel it melting in your fingers. Do I need to lick that off, or do I need to wash my hands? Like who here had an experience of chocolate just then? Does it make sense what people are doing to themselves? They keep describing what they don't want instead of what they do want. So they've done these surveys, like so many studies now that psychology is something that's been covered. If you look at the surveys, what they show you is that people who just practice the skill don't win. People who imagine themselves at the end winning, and they spend at least 25 to 50% of the time fantasizing about the outcome, and then they still practice as well, those people win more. Those people have better self-talk because they can actually picture this identity of themselves in the future having won. And so I want you to take a minute actually right now and do it yourself. So closing your eyes, taking a breath, and see yourself in the future having seen a weight loss client, and then they come, they see you, then they leave, and then your 6 weeks have passed, and they come back, or you call them on the phone, and you celebrate with them because they've said, look, I've lost 10, 12 kilos. And you're amazed that they've lost 10 or 12 kilos, like maybe a kilo a week or 2 kilos a week, but they've done it. And the more slowly and the more permanently it took them to lose 10 or 12 kilos, the more chance is that they're going to keep it off as well. So then the next letter, so after L, is T. And so T is for triggers, but also the parts therapy. So I'd like you to take a look at this circle where on one side we have the needs for now, on the other side we have needs for later. So on the side for now, we could have things such as you want to feel calm, so maybe you want to eat, or you want to get energy, so you want to eat. Or on the side for later, you want to have health, you want to have energy for later, which means that you want to not eat too many poisons, basically, in your diet. So I do parts therapy a little bit differently, because what I do is I bring them into one set of values, where the now and the later needs come into one set of behaviors. And so this is what we do, that we find that everybody has a reason for what they do. They're not eating for no reason. They're eating because they are compelled to. They've got dopamine telling them what to do in their body, and they've got the metabolism telling them how big to be. So it's not really their fault. So that the more you bring these values into alignment, where you get them to, it's like the Venn diagram, where you bring the two values together. You've gone, well, what's something that serves you now, as in gives you energy? But what's something that also keeps you healthy later, as in don't have junk food? They're like, oh, normally what I would do is have a Mars bar now for energy and just get sick later. Or what I could do is not have the Mars bar and be just really grumpy now, but later be healthy. And you're like, oh, they both sound like bad options because one side is always being neglected. What you can do, bring them into alignment. And this is where you have one set of behaviors and you say, what if you ate something else? So later, you're healthy because you ate something else that's healthy, but now you still get something. Or what if their need wasn't for food? What if their need was to calm down? And you helped them with a calm down exercise. The final session, session 6, is called the Hooray and the Hawk, which basically is to celebrate. So you always have to celebrate their success or they won't keep it. People tend to seem to, in a way, not realize this enough, or they learn it and then they forget it, or they write it off as being unimportant. But if you don't celebrate with your clients, they don't maintain the results. That fantasy that you set up for them
earlier in the sessions, the fantasy is that they're going to reach a result, then they're going to celebrate that. So part of that, you've been a massive part of their influence in their life. You've got to celebrate with them. You've got to talk them through, great, what are you going to do now that you're healthier? Does that make sense? And then the hook basically is to sell them the upsell, which we talk about in this bonus, this crazy bonus. We've got Advanced Course Academy Elite Online, where what you get is the 5 months of training, and we're giving you this for free as part of coming along on the 9th of August. Click the link down the bottom where you'll see how you can get in. That this course is worth over $1,000. We've done discounts down to, like say, $800 a few times because we were just, testing the market and see would we get more through that way. And so what we found is that the students who have done this course have been bringing more and more and more students with us. So it is a brand risk giving this to you so cheaply, basically giving it to you for free. Because the 5 months in the marketing, basically the month 1 is the big picture, which tells you the next 5 years of your business. Month 2 is the traffic month, where we show you how I made $5,000 in 1 week in hypnotherapy just by using Facebook and retargeting and a few tools and techniques there. And then month 3 is the Ascension month, where we show you that besides just doing one-on-one stuff with clients, that you can basically grow your business into something bigger, where you can scale yourself, because you can't scale yourself one-on-one for more than 40 clients per week. I've done that. In my first 6 months, I saw 40 clients per week, and I burned out doing it. So I did it for 6 months. And so what I found is that what I needed to do was do something scalable, where I could see people one-to-many, whether it's online with courses or whether it's face-to-face in groups. But scalability, whether you've got an ebook or a book that you want to put out, whether you've got classes or workshops where you can bring more people in, this is where I want you to think bigger. And then month 4 is the viral month, where within this shows you how to produce based on the hero's journey. This shows you how to produce a story that your client will follow while in trance, but also a story that you can use for your marketing that helps transform them and helps get your message out there. So that's the viral month. So month 5 is the month to do, because it's just incredible how every problem that you could deal with a client comes in the workbook, where we talk about the 5 markets that you can help people with. So there's health, relationships, time, money, and happiness. And so within that, you can say within happiness, there can be anxiety, depression. Within health, there can be pain, insomnia. Within relationships, there could be marriage counseling and how to find a partner and all of these parts. The business training that you can help people with. It pays to know your topic, and that's why there's training in there as well. Plus the online course that we give you as well about the weight loss. And so that you get our previous seminar recordings, our workbook, and the 60-odd page health guide or counseling guide that basically has session by session, script for script, what we say in each of our sessions. The MP3s and the CD set, so when you come along on the 9th, you get to physically take home the resources that it takes to see a client one-on-one. And so this is a deal that I will not be repeating, because it's such a brand risk for me to give away a course that's worth over $1,000. And so that's why I want you to get into it straight away. Come along on the 9th and we'll see you there. And I can't wait to reveal this system. And then what the system stands for as well, like the different steps of the session. Thanks again, Scott from Advanced Course Academy Online. I'll see you on the 9th.
Hi, Jason from Jason Mayer Coaching. Just want to leave a couple of words for Scott Lawrence. Scott and I met at a function in Sydney about 3 years ago. And who would have thought that this guy that I just met with his partner at this function would be such a wealth of information. I mean, the guy, there's a lot of people out there that are so-called experts, say that they're good at this and good at that and whatever else, but everything that he does, he stands behind what he says. Whenever he says, I could show you a better way of doing something, or would you like a hand with that? He goes through, he follows through with it, which doesn't happen with a lot of so-called experts. They're always too busy for you and everything else. The other good thing I find with Scott is, unlike myself, well, similar to myself, he explains everything as simplified as possible, actually more simpler than I can. I've always said, if you want to get a message across to me and you're trying to express something, explain it to me like a 5-year-old. I'll get that, without complicating. So many people are chunking it up and making it so blasé and so over the top. Scott himself simplifies it breaks it down into neat, easy steps, and actually follows through with what happens. So when you do what he says he does, he gets you to do, it works. It definitely works. I feel a little lost when I don't, if I miss one of his posts or one of his videos, because I know what I'm going to get from him is genuine, straightforward information and tools that are going to help me improve myself and my business and the things that I do. So if you're interested in what Scott has to offer, by all means, check him out. If you find him too simplified and you'd rather listen to these guys that are over the top, by all means, go for it. But there's too much of that over the top stuff. We want something that's straight to the point, very easy to understand, and something we could put into place. And dude, I think you need to charge a lot more than you are, because you're way worth more than what you charge. So big thumbs up to Scott, and yeah, love your work, buddy. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name's Lawrence. I'm from Release Hypnosis, and I just want to take a few moments to offer some words in regards to Scott Lawrence, as I've been able to experience a lot of his online programs that he has offered to date, and just wanted to provide a few words about my experience with them. I think anyone who has sat down and watched Scott online really gets a sense of how passionate he is about what he presents, and the amount of work and research that has gone into that. And I think the fact that he's so willing to give so much freely at times as well, it just goes to show how passionate he is about creating a better industry for hypnotherapists out there. You don't even need to invest in his course half the time. He will give you a few weeks free to give it a try. And I think that says volumes about the quality of the work he does, because I think even if you just do, one or two of those introductory modules, you still gain a lot out of it. And I think that they really are able to give you that reassurance that what you are paying for is a high quality product that you are going to gain benefit from. So with that, if anyone asks me ever if it's worth doing any of the online academies that Scott Lawrence offers, go ahead and do it, because I think that what you gain back out of it is of so much value and so interesting, and Scott himself is so engaging that it's a no-brainer. So to Scott, thank you again. Everything you've done has always been fascinating, and I truly appreciate it. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Greg of Moving Minds Hypnotherapy on the Gold Coast. I completed one of Scott's courses about 3 months ago and have since started the second one about halfway through. Just recording this to show my gratitude to Scott and the team there. I'm halfway through the second one, and I've actually had to put the foot back on the pedal because I was so busy with clients that I haven't done much work on the business. So I'm now dedicating a day to it, of course, and with Scott's help I'll be taking it to the next level. Yeah, I would have got there anyway, but it certainly has fast-tracked my progress in the business, which was critical for me. Scott, you've given me so much value, bonuses and support, way beyond my expectations. So for anyone out there who's considering Advanced Course Academy and Scott, just do it. You'll get absolutely amazing value, and he'll make a big difference to your business and ultimately your clients. So do it.
This is a very quick thank you video to Scott Lawrence at Advanced Course Academy for helping me with my marketing. Scott, I can't thank you enough. I think I've achieved more in the past 4 weeks when working with you than I have done in probably about a year. You've been able to take all of the crazy stuff in my head and actually put it in the right places so that we can achieve a result. If you're watching this and you're thinking of working with Scott, all I can say is don't sit on the fence, do it. I met Scott back in October and I only decided to work with him in February. All that time, I lost it. I wish I did it earlier. So if you're thinking about it, do it. The thing about Scott is he really cares. He goes above and beyond, and what he's given me surpassed all of my expectations. Scott, thank you again. This isn't the end. I'm really looking forward to continue our relationship and to continue working together and building new things.
Hey, I'm Vicky Murgatroyd from Life Empowerment Project, and I just wanted to record this quick video to say a huge thank you to Scott and your amazing program, Massively Build Your Coaching Practice. So I connected with Scott over Facebook, and the value that he added in just our chats and our general interactions was phenomenal. And I had no doubt about getting onto his program and seeing his work from the inside out, having known a little bit about how he thinks and how he just seems to connect the dots and make everything make sense in a very easy way, which unfortunately I seem to be unable to do in quite the same clarity with myself. But he has just this way of allowing you to look at things and your business in particular in a completely different way that really helps you to step up your results and achieve something completely new. One of my favorite things is the acronyms that he creates out of everything. Now, there are things that there's no way I'd be able to remember all this stuff had he not created them in this amazing way that just sticks in your mind and allows it to be really easily accessible whenever you need it. So I just wanted to say a massive thank you. Your content is phenomenal, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be a part of your amazing program. So thanks very much, Scott, and I look forward to more work in the future.
Hi, I'm Laura Huxley from Speaker's Little Secret, and I've recently been working with Scott Lawrence. Now, some of the things I've taken from working with Scott going through his hypnotherapy program has really been around consistency, clarity, and getting some really clear ideas on what strategies are going to work for my business. You know, quite often there's so much out there. There are so many things, so many different things that we can be using: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, website, whatever it is you're having a look at. Scott's really enabled me to work out what's going to work for my business and what's going to work for my particular audience. And I think that that's really, really key. One of the main things, again, that I've taken from working with Scott is really having that consistency and the quality of that consistency. We can take action consistently, but it might not be inspired action. It might kind of be like, oh God, tired, exhausted action. But what I found from working with Scott is what tools I can use to make sure that I am coming from an inspired place and feeling that motivation when I'm putting things out there, because it makes a big difference. So thank you so much, Scott. If you are thinking about working with Scott, if you're sitting on the fence, I'd say just dive in and do it. He's absolutely a fantastic coach. He will guide you and support you in a really loving and warm environment. So go on, dive in. Thanks so much, Scott. I'll speak to you soon.
Hi, my name's Shane Fozzard, co-founder of Australian Success Academy and head trainer. And so what I'd like to do is just very quickly tell you about Scott Lawrence. I've been friends with Scott for a number of years, and Scott is one of the sort of guys that has been through so many different courses, and he knows so much information and really is inspired to help people learn how they can understand that information and in order to take action. And I can tell you that personally, I've had a number of times where I've been trying to get my Facebook marketing happening, and Scott is so generous with his time and his information. I've given him a phone call, he's guided me through some steps, and the great thing about it is, in a lot of cases, it's just knowing what to click at what time, and then just really the strategy, and Scott has that strategy. So if you're interested in working with Scott, I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Hi there, I'm Michelle, and I just want to send a big shout out to Scott Lawrence, an incredible coach who I've been coaching with off and on now for the last year, and have had phenomenal results from going from ground zero to full workshops. Scott is incredibly generous, incredibly knowledgeable, and has supported me to a very, very successful place. I can't recommend Scotty enough. He delivers, and there's not too many people out there that I've come across that have been able to deliver to the extent that Scotty has. Yeah, thank you, Scotty, from the bottom of my heart. You're amazing. Cheers. Looking forward to this next chapter with you. Bye.
Hi, my name is Romy, and I want to thank Scott Lawrence for helping me move forward with my coaching. Before working with him, I had all these creative ideas, but no plan or structure to implement them. Scott allowed me to find more clarity and realize what my next steps were in order to set myself up. So once again, Scott, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Okay, Hi everyone, it's Bianca here from Southeastern Hypnotherapy and Counselling. I just wanted to give Scott a quick shout out for all the help that he's given me throughout the last 6 or 12 months with my business. Like most therapists out there, marketing was something that I just didn't really want to think about. It's not something that I feel like I'm innately good at, not something I knew anything about. And so when Scott reached out to me and we started talking a little bit about my business and what my aims were, he helped me to really focus on what it is that I want out of my business and how it is I'm going to get it. And probably the main thing that Scott helped me with was with my website. Scott's got a really good way of thinking from a client's perspective, and there was, a number of changes that I made to my website which I felt have really benefited overall. So look, anyone that's thinking about doing some training or a course or anything with Scott, I'd highly recommend. He's very generous with his information, very good at thinking from a client's perspective, and he's been there and done it all before. So, he's definitely somebody I would recommend.
Hi, I'm Lisa from Lisa Hester Nutrition. I just thought I'd share with you guys a little bit about Scott Lawrence and his Advanced Academy online program. It turns out that starting a business is actually pretty hard. It's kind of like baking a cake. You have so many different ingredients, and if you miss one or you get the steps wrong, then it's just a nightmare. That's what I was finding was happening. I had so much information going on from different people, and all those, gurus that come up on Facebook to say, yeah, press me, like me, do my program. I had so much information, it was overload. So I ended up doing nothing. Then steps in Scotty to the rescue. His program is clear, it's concise, he's done all the hard work for you. You can just go through the steps, it's easy, it's simple to implement, and you know what? It's been just such a relief. So I can't recommend Scotty's program more highly. It's made sense out of stuff for me that didn't make sense before. I've been able to just simplify everything. I'm a single mum, so time is poor. Everything is strategic, everything has to be planned out. So thank you, Scotty, for giving me the opportunity to do your program. Please, guys, get onto it. It'll save you so much time and energy and then allow you to grow the business that you really want to have. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
It's Adriana here. Today is my second opportunity to talk and develop my business with Scott, and I am so pleased. 3 things describe Scott. First one, he adds so much value and knowledge to your project that no one else will be able to do it in such a short period of time. Secondly, his generosity is more than expected, and his generosity is not just giving away stuff, it's giving away to you the things that you need. And the third, which is the most important, Scott works for you because it makes him happy for you to succeed. So this is the integrity that he brings into what he does. I have worked with other people in the past and I felt really bad that my money has been taken away, and I come to Scott now, and in 1 hour only with Scott I've been coached and supported as with another person would have been a whole 3 months program. So if you're really serious about bringing money into your business now, if you really want the thing to happen, please come to Scott, because if you are not bringing money in, you won't be able to support these people who need you to be there for them. So come, learn with Scott. I promise you, you will never ever look back. It's fabulous. Ciao.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Brennan, founder of Steph Loans, and this is a quick video to say a huge thank you to Scott Lawrence for all your help with improving my videos. The tips and techniques have really helped me, and it's been great to have such positive reinforcement and valuable feedback, so thank you so much. I highly recommend if anybody is looking to take their business or their videos to the next level, get in touch with Scott. Thanks guys, bye.
Hi, my name is Helen Martis from HypnoFit, Australia's leading mindset trainer in weight loss and depression. We make changes in people's lives at the subconscious level. What this means is that when people come to see us, it's not just a matter of talking to them and giving them strategies and techniques. We make real shifts in their belief system and the way that they see their lives and the way that they manage their emotions, so that when we say that we eliminate negative emotions such as anger and sadness, we really do. It's not a matter of here's a technique so that you don't have to think about it, it's actually gone. So I would love you to join us in this incredible field where we make massive changes in people's lives. It's a wonderful industry to be in. When people leave us, we feel so good about the work that we do. Scott asked me to make this video. I met Scott a couple of years ago at the Academy of Hypnotic Science, where we were both lecturers and holding various workshops. And we were so interested that we were both presenting these workshops that we thought that we'd visit each other and see what each one was doing, and then we became very good friends. So if you are thinking of joining this wonderful industry, please do so. Those of us that are in here feel very blessed every day that we take on this wonderful, wonderful work. Okay, speak to you soon. Bye.
Hi, I'm Nancy Hewitt, clinical hypnotherapist, Kyabram, Victoria. I've been in business over 30 years in various industries, and in that time I've learnt one very important thing, that there's always more to learn. I took on Scott's How to Massively Grow Your Hypnotherapy practice course, and it's been fantastic. It's got simple, solid advice and suggestions that you can put into practice immediately. One of them in particular that I hadn't even thought of before had clients coming through the door. So I really recommend Scott's courses to you. He's a generous, kind, sharing person who loves to build relationships that benefit both parties. Thanks very much, Scott.
Hi, my name is Steve Carey. I'm the principal here at the Academy of Hypnotic Science, which is a training school that teaches people just like you to become hypnotherapists. So why you might want to start up a practice yourself is to become part of this. If that appeals to you, the thought of actually being in a job, in a career where you are helping people, where you are making a difference to people's lives, if that appeals to you, then the hypnotherapy industry really should be appealing to you. Is it easy? Is it hard? Well, I don't know. Some people tell me that it's quite easy. Other people tell me that it's impossible, which probably says more about them than it actually does about the hypnotherapy industry. Certainly you need to be prepared. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be ready and able to work hard at this. And Scott is a very good example of this. He's worked tremendously hard to get where he is. I think he's found it hard at various times and easy at other times. When you're doing the right things, when you're going about things the right way, things seem to be quite easy. When you're swimming against the tide, you can be working very, very hard and really not getting anywhere. So it's as much about working hard and smart as it is about just working hard. But I would say that it does take any kind of a business. Building a business from scratch by yourself is important and is hard work. You're not going to just be able to people are not going to be aware of you for a start. So you've got to get yourself known to them. You've got to get your message across, and you've got to make people feel comfortable and confident in you that you can actually help them. And that takes practice, that takes a fair bit of experience, it takes determination, and it takes guts. But I do think that it has its own rewards. Yes, they are financial. You can make a good living out of hypnotherapy, as you would know from Scott, that you can actually make a good living out of hypnotherapy. But probably more important than that, most people don't come into the hypnotherapy industry purely with the idea of making lots of money. There are probably other ways where you can make more money, probably faster than in hypnotherapy. But if what really motivates you is this feeling of wanting to be able to help other people, to be really making a difference in people's lives, and to feel that you are every day that you're doing something which is positive and beneficial, I think that to me feels really rewarding. And I very rarely have the experience of seeing a client and at the end of it not feeling pleased and proud that this is what I do. It doesn't mean that I always get success by any means, but what it does mean is that you're aware that you're seeing people at a fairly low end. People tend not to go and see a hypnotherapist unless they have kind of run out of most other options. And while that can be, it can be upsetting for them and indeed for you to witness somebody in this sort of situation, kind of curiously, you don't have to be able to do very much to be able to give someone hope again, because I've found that most people have got great reserves of hope and ability in themselves. And if you can help to remind them of when they've been successful in the past, of when they've done things, when they've achieved things, if you can get them back into that mind frame, that mindset, then they're much more likely to be able to come out of that steep decline. I mean, think about your own life. When you've made a change in your life, you've probably been at a point where you felt that change was possible, where you were able to do it, where you felt that you had that ability. Because after all, if you didn't feel those things, you wouldn't even be aiming to make that change. You wouldn't feel that it was possible. So when someone comes to you feeling flat, feeling deflated, feeling down, feeling lacking in resources, if I can help that person get back in touch with their resources and start to feel that there really is the possibility of change, of improvement again, then that's when that can actually start to happen. Now, how do I know Scott? Well, I know Scott because we were students here at this very academy, at the Academy of Hypnotic Science. And in fact, one of the first early experiences I had of really successful hypnotherapy was with Scott. At the time, I was biting my nails rather badly. They're a lot better now. And I remember Scott asked a really key, really clever question. He simply said to me, how long would you need to go without biting your nails to feel that it was no longer an issue? And I knew the answer. I thought, well, if I can stop biting them for a week, then I will feel that I've got in control of this. And it suddenly made it seem so much more achievable to be able to do that. And then he said, well, actually, I don't know what Scott said at that point, because at that point he did an induction and I don't remember anything else that he said, but I do know that it was tremendously successful and effective with me. And I've known Scott ever since. He's come and talked to many groups of students at the Academy. He's done lecturing, he's done workshops. He's helped so many people to get their practice up and running. And I would say that he is right up there now as an expert at what it takes. And if you are following Scott's advice, then I think you're getting very good advice.